So let's get right into it. So most recently, I've been working on a few things, of course. I think that we're always working on manifestations. So I titled this video, Signs That You Know Your Manifestations Are Coming. And it's because there's not really a time in our life where we're not focused on something that's in the near future, or something that we want to accomplish, something that we want to receive, somebody that we want to get to know, or a job that we want to attain, something like that. More money, that's a lot of people, right? There's always something that we're working towards. So I was like, I'm gonna move to do a video, but I'm gonna do it along the lines of something that I'm interested in. So, signs that you know your manifestation is coming. So I kind of put this in my little tablet so I can go through it and I won't have to think about it too much. One of the biggest signs that I've experienced with anything that's come to me, something I've been thinking about working on, and in case you didn't know, I'm definitely the kind of person that has vision boards and gratitude journals I use every day. Everything is meditation and working, and I'm putting my mind in a place where I can easily manifest things that I'm interested in, like peace and freedom and finances and time, all those things that I'm excited about, like non-tangible things. Those are some of my most interesting manifestations. So there are some tangible things sometimes that I do want, like a place I want to live in, or maybe a vehicle I want to drive, or maybe I don't know, a trip I want to take or something like that. So there are some tangible things that I usually put in my on my vision board. But for the most part, I really focus on freedom, I focus on peace, and I focus on good health and all those sort of things, the kind of things that makes everything else in your life more amplified in the positive direction. So the first one is, I noticed that the universe, it'll start, people will start showing you things that you're interested in when you haven't even mentioned them. So like there was this vehicle that I wanted for a while. And I was always kind of on a fence about it because the vehicle I had was paid off, although it had issues with it. It was just, you know, it was like home. I had it for like 6 years, but I was another vehicle, more space that I really wanted to drive. So I kind of used to ramble it off to everybody everywhere I went. And part of me loved having it in the distance. So that way it was like always something I was working towards, right? So, at one point when it became very viable that it was easy for it to happen, I couldn't deny that I could fulfill this manifestation if I wanted to. Like all the parts of the puzzle, it was available to me. And so like something went wrong with the vehicle that I had, and it was like, okay, get it fixed or either go look at something else. And so when I finally sat there and I made the phone call to the dealership and I was like, okay, I'm checking on this vehicle, but a large part of me was like, no, it's a dream car. You know, you can't do that yet. It's like a future thing, because that's how we see so many things in our lives. And I made the phone call, and then they gave me all the specs on it and come test drive, and you can, this is what it'll cost and all these sort of things. That night I was like, nah, but it was fun checking on it. A friend of mine sent me a picture of the exact vehicle, and said, I thought I saw you today, as a joke, right? And I was like, wow, you know what? That's telling me that I need to go ahead and check on this vehicle. And then the process of me attaining it and moving forward, it was so easy. It was so much easier than I had ever built up into my mind. And there's something strange about getting your hands on something that you call a dream item that makes you realize that manifestation is real, and that whatever you direct your attention to and your mindset to, you can definitely pull it into your existence. So start paying attention to other people bringing you ideas and information related to your manifestation that you didn't ask for, that you're not actively trying to pull out of them. Like when it comes up out of the blue, you're like, you know what, I need to check on that because there may be something for me over there. So that's pretty cool. Another one is you get a strong feeling that something is about to break through. And so, you know, there's some times in your life where you feel a little more stuck, a little more stagnant. Then there's other times where you feel like things are happening, everything's flowing, new things are coming towards me and I don't have to necessarily go seek them out. Those are the best things. I put things up on my mirror. I use a dry erase marker, but I put things on the mirror all the time and I don't even pay attention to it. It's like it's up there, but I don't really just, you know, read it every day like a mantra. My vision boards are the same way. They're up there because I put the ideas on paper and I put the pictures that go with that, and you know, but I don't necessarily read over it every day. Every now and then, every few weeks or so, it gets my attention and I'll go look at it. But one thing I noticed for sure is that there's an overwhelming feeling. It's almost like a relaxation when it comes to that particular manifestation. It's like a part of you that was trying to get somewhere to get it. It's like it gets released. It's interesting. Like, I don't know, I talked about this a while ago, but like over last summer or something, like I had put on like 15 to 20 extra pounds for no good reason. I didn't even know I can put on 15 to 20 extra pounds. I kind of did with my daughters, you know, but that was pregnancy, so you kind of like, you know, that's what your body's going to go through. But I did this like just with like, not like overeating, just being in like a mental space that attracted this weight to my body. And then I found myself having a hard time getting it off. And I was like, you're not even the kind of person that would have, like, you're active, you can get out there, but I had a hard time exercising. Like, I was so sluggish in that area. My momentum was like at a halt. And the thing about it is, I know it was strange because I was putting more into I put more into my system now with just being active every day than then when I was just stagnant. So there was this overwhelming energy that like nothing was moving, and it was showing up also too in weight that I put on myself. And the minute I got into the mode where, you know what, this is just weight. Anybody can take off weight. People do it all the time. People do it any day, every day. I was like, I don't need a goal. I don't need to step on a scale every day. I said, what I need to do is just put that regular routine in my life. Go down to the treadmill when my daughters are here and I don't want to leave them unattended. And I was like, and when they're not here, go down to the lake and do my walk around the lake. And so that's just like kind of the lifestyle I adapted. And then like over a few months, everything had come off of me, and even more, clothes were looser than what I like them to be. And so what I noticed is that there was an extreme relaxation, and I gave up all the resistance I was putting towards seeing it happen. And that's been like that with everything I've manifested. So you'll notice that you get a strong, calm sense of relaxation that I don't have to fight for this. It's just gonna work out. And that's been my experience with everything. Another one is it starts to come up in your subconscious. So like, you know, consciously you can think about what you want all the time. You can kind of focus on what you want and how you're going to get it done and how you're going to make things happen. But when it starts showing up to you when you're not even paying attention, or either subconsciously it starts to appear like in your, I call it the in-between dream. The dream that you have when you're halfway awake in the morning and you're halfway asleep, you're halfway awake, you're in between. You're not quite awake, but your dream starts to kind of bleed into what the reality is. And then you'll notice you start to see these, I call them premonitions, not meaning that you know, can predict the future, but like premonitions, just little visions that are popping up in your subconscious that show your life in this space. Something was like that, the home, like a home that I was trying to move into, maybe even this one, I can't think of it, but yeah, I saw myself living in it so clearly in my brain. Like every time I would think about people coming over, you know how like a picture pops in your head and you think about people visiting or like having a conversation with someone, I would be in the kitchen of that place. And I was like, okay, I didn't even consciously think of, let me, you know, meditation, let me think of myself in the kitchen, and you know, it wasn't that. It was like I automatically just started seeing myself living in this space and moving around this space, and my furniture and my life happening within this space and how everything was set up, and I wasn't even trying to put it together. So like subconsciously it started just overflowing. And it's the same thing when I write. If I get a really good idea and I love the topic, the subject matter, it's so interesting because I'll start living the subject matter. Like subconsciously things will pop up that belong in that story, or either the storyline will start speaking to me when I'm not even giving my active attention to it. So think about that. think about what's popping up in your subconscious and in your dreams, and whether it's coming to you as opposed to you reaching out for the thought, right? Another one is you start to feel good and you don't even have a rhyme or reason for it. I, for one, always think that you should just feel good and you don't have a rhyme or reason for it. But I know that it's not acceptable that you're gonna feel good just all the time. So that's not an expectation that I have. If you looked at one of my videos from earlier this week, I was telling a friend of mine I was feeling magenta. There's this song I used to listen to, but it was on the Golden Girls too, way back in the day. But it's just a saying, when you're not blue, you're not, you know, feeling sad, you're not feeling dark, you're not feeling happy, but you're like in some weird in-between space. They call that magenta. So it's like, I don't expect to feel happy all the time, but I do expect to feel content and grateful and pretty much even keel most of the time. 90% of my time should be in that space. That's my expectation. Everybody else may be different. But I noticed that, like, when manifestations are happening and things are coming to you, you feel good no matter what happens, right? So it's like you realize that some things that you want to work out and then they don't work out. It's like, it doesn't just take you down. You don't just like fall apart. You get in traffic or something, you just realize, hey, you look at it differently. You're like, okay, well, I'm glad I left early because I got time to sit in this traffic. Or somebody cuts you off, quote unquote, because I think we've all done it and we've all had it done to us. We don't want to miss a turn or something like that. Or however, people tend to, you know, get in their own little space. So either they don't see a car, you never know what's going on with other people. That's why it's always good to pay attention. But you get into this space where none of those things can really just take you out. You know, you go to yoga and they say, you know, the class is at noon. You somehow get stuck in traffic and you show up at 12:05 and the door's already locked. And you're just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go practice at home. It's like nothing really is happening in your life that's gonna just take you all the way off your happiness plane, you know? So you start to see your manifestations show up a lot quicker when you're just happy for no good reason, and you decide that you're in control of yourself and your feelings and your emotions, and that other people in other situations don't get to dictate that for you. And another one is this is a really interesting one that I was thinking about. You start to have you start to have some opposition. So like, you're in a happy mood and you're relaxed about the manifestation and you're cool and you're just in your own lane and doing your own thing. And you'll notice that people start kind of like, it's not that they're bad or they're doing anything wrong. They start kind of attacking your space a little bit, or they start like poking at it to see how real it is or something like that. I don't know. They start like making comments about who you are and what you do. Sometimes you'll see a little bit of opposition pop up. And so like, when I'm in a good space and I know that I've been living my best life, you know, I found out that that was a real big cliche happening right now. But I had heard it a long time ago from Oprah. But anyway, when I start like living well and I feel good for no good reason, and it doesn't depend on what other people say or what they do or how they think. And it's like in my own lane almost. Pretty much, I start to see a little bit more opposition when I'm about to have a breakthrough. And that happens often. People they'll judge your life decisions, maybe gossip about you, talk about you behind your back a little bit, maybe complain about the way that you act, and maybe judge the way that you show interest in other people or not. You know, those sort of things start playing out, and you start to see a little opposition there. And it's like, you're like, I know that I'm in a good space. I know that I am positive, and I know that I'm happy and whole, and I know that I'm giving my life everything that I'm supposed to give it, and that it's returning these things to me. So there's absolutely no reason why I should be up against people that feel negatively towards me. It's like, what is that about, right? And you know that there's nothing about you going on that should be attracting that kind of attention. I find that usually right before you have major breakthroughs, it's kind of like a little bit of resistance, right? I think it's Stephen Pressfield that says, I'm not going to quote this exactly, but it was in his book, The Art of War, I believe, when he says that the more that we try to change our life, we know that the breakthroughs are happening. It's along these lines, but it's not exact, because the resistance starts to show. Whenever we go against the grain, we start to get resistance. People question why you believe what you believe and why you feel so good about not, you know, living your life according to tradition and other people's beliefs, values, and norms. Why are you so comfortable with that? And you get resistance on it, right? So that's how I know too. And then the very last one that I have is that it seems like you get a lot of no's. So this is a little bit different from opposition. When I say you get a lot of no's, it's like you start like working for things. Like I know like this is a common one for me. Applying for jobs and like just different work or some freelance work I'm supposed to do for someone, or some big event that I'm looking forward to, something related to that. And everything seems to be in perfect line, and I go meet the people, and then they just kind of decide not to deal with me, or they just decide that I'm not the right candidate for what they're looking for. And I always know, like, when all those ducks are in a row, the no's are pretty much your yeses for your manifestation. It's because every door you go through, it's kind of like there's a riddle. You know that little thing on Dora that used to be like, you know, the troll at the bridge, if you watch Dora the Explorer. I had daughters, so I used to. And they're like, you know, he's like, solve my riddle every time you get. So it's like your manifestation is like on the very end, and then like you start here, and then in between there's a series of doors, and every door has a riddle. So it's like, to me, all those no's that you get from things that you think that are supposed to be in your life, maybe a mate that you thought was supposed to be the one and they're not, maybe a job that you thought was supposed to be the one and it wasn't. So I'm going to edit this together because my video cut off. Too much stuff on there and not enough space, so I had to delete some stuff. So I think the last thing I was saying was, you think it's a mate you're supposed to have, but it's not the person. You think it's a job you're supposed to have, and it's not it. You think some money's coming that didn't come. You're supposed to take a trip, and none of the ducks fell in a row. I find that all those no's are just clearing the space so you can get that big yes that you're looking forward to. And you have to keep going through this series of sort of like riddles, and it's not even an active process as much as it is a passive allowing and letting yourself receive the information to take you from one step to the next. And so those are kind of my things. That's my signs that you know you have a manifestation coming. That might be 6. I think I did 6. Maybe 7. I don't know. I'll go back and look when I edit. But nonetheless, just make sure that you stay in that good space, being positive and making sure that you believe in these things as much as possible at any given time. And the more you see things manifest that you are actively interested in, the more positive you'll be about the next manifestation. And even if it's something small first, it's about changing the mindset so that way you can see things that you desire as attainable as opposed to something far away in the future. So anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I hope you get all your manifestations. That's one of my favorite sayings. I hope you get what you want. And when somebody calls me and tell me something great has happened to them, I say, I'm so happy you got what you want. Because I always want to take the focus off of me and what I think about it, because it really doesn't matter. People want what they want and they desire what they desire. And everybody should have those desires, especially if it's not anything that hurts other people in any kind of way, right? I don't know if we can always avoid that either. Nonetheless, have a happy Saturday. Bye.